What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Sifu, the amazing, in my opinion, amazing-looking martial arts game that obviously was delayed at yesterday's State of Play. So this is going to be the first of two videos. I do want to talk a little bit about the State of Play. Obviously, I'd like to have done it right after the State of Play happened. As you guys may or may not know, I'm visiting family. Things got pushed back, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, I picked a game for this first video, and I want to do kind of a good talk about it, and also a slight negative talk. I mean, obviously, the biggest news story, let's not kid ourselves, the biggest news story from this game is that it was delayed, right? It was supposed to come out in 2021. In fact, it seemed like it was supposed to come out in the summer of 2021, and obviously it was at the State of Play yesterday, which was good, and we'll talk about the gameplay trailer that we saw from it and how I think some of the mechanics work. But the biggest thing was at the very end of the trailer, right? And I actually thought this was very, very weird. They had the text, right? The text that said 2021, and it was like that graphic transition, and then it said early 2022. So I just, what was a little, well, I guess I applaud them in a way, you know what I mean? Where it's like they didn't do a thing where it's just a trailer, and at the end of the trailer, they just said early 2022. And then people are like, oh, wait, wasn't that supposed to be 2021? They literally showed people 2021, which I thought for the split second we saw it, I was like, oh, it's got an unannounced release now, so now it's like maybe late fall, but then it, transitioned again to, early 2022. We can have any opinion we want on it. I will say mine, and it's basically the same as I say for any of these games. They get delayed as long as the game comes out in a better condition than it otherwise would have, right? It's worth it. I'm not mad about it. Honestly, considering how August looks with a lot of the games coming out, and August has a lot of smaller-ish game, like indie games, coming out. September, October, November, even December with Dying Light 2 is absolutely packed with games. So honestly, if Sifu comes out January or February when there's maybe one or two other games to compete with, is much better in my eyes than coming out now, I guess, or let's say in like 2-3 weeks from now, when there are like 4, 5, 6 different games competing with it, right? So I don't really see any problem with it, but it was the biggest story, I would say, besides maybe if people want to pick out, which we will do in the next video. I do want to talk about games that weren't there. There were notable games that were not shown, but Sifu obviously being there and then being delayed was a pretty big thing. That, if you even want to consider that being a negative discussion on the game, I guess you can. The positives, though, we've seen gameplay of this before. We kind of know how the game is going to work, but they showed it a little bit more in this gameplay trailer. It looks phenomenal. I mean, I've said this before. I think I said this a day or two ago when we were kind of predicting what was going to be at State of Play. This was a game that originally interested me, but it wasn't like jumping out of the screen interest, you know what I mean? Where it wasn't like a Kena Bridge of Spirits, where the first time I saw that game, I was all in. I was like, okay, this is an immediate day one buy, say no more, I'm interested. This game was like, oh, looks cool, but I don't know if I would necessarily buy it. It's past that by now, by the way. It's totally like I'm going to buy Sifu day one, but it started a little bit slower for me. But again, based off of what we've already seen and based off what we saw here today or yesterday, I guess, right? It was phenomenal. I cannot wait. Obviously very Jackie Chan-like, which again is really cool. The one thing, and I like asking these questions because I always say, like, correct me if I'm wrong or, like, educate me in the comments. And a lot of times you guys do, and I learn a lot of things just from reading what you guys have to say. So answer me this if you guys know this, okay? Kind of like a quiz. I like the mechanic of getting older, okay? But I'm a little confused as to the specifics of what happens as you age, and they've kind of said it, but they kind of haven't. The things that I've read, and I think the new details they've talked about, is like, you basically, you can't live forever. So it's basically like you can't cheat, you can't keep aging till like you're 155 and just keep going up, right? Once you reach the limit in which I guess your character dies of old age, I believe you start the game over. It's a little bit different versus like Returnal or honestly even Deathloop, and each of those do it slightly different as well. I don't exactly know, again, how Sifu does it, but one thing that kind of confuses me a little bit is they've talked about how, like, as you get older, I believe the play style changes, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. I know they said, like, your power level doesn't decrease, which is like, it's understandable, and I kind of like that they said that, because it's like, okay, well, if I'm fighting as like a 25-year-old versus an 85-year-old, am I gonna have to throw 5 times the amount of punches in order to knock somebody out? And I guess them saying that, basically the answer is no, right? I guess it's like the same amount of physical attacks would work. But like, does your character slow down? Do they get weaker? Maybe they take less hits in order to die. So I don't know the answer to that. I don't even know if they've said that before. But again, I love asking you guys this, because sometimes you guys know the answers when I don't. Let me know. But again, I mean, that's really my only question mark with this game, is just kind of how those core mechanics work as you get older, right? Because you will, I mean, you will end up, I guess, being knocked out or will be killed, and you'll age a couple years and you'll come back. And that's a phenomenal mechanic, especially if moves change, or you're a little bit weaker, or you can't move around as well, however it's intended to be. Again, I don't know if we know those answers, but I'm very high on this game. What they showed today just got me more excited. Again, the disappointment that we can't play it in the next 2 to 4 months like people thought, and I think it's fair. I mean, it's fair. They said that that it was supposed to come out, right? I think it's fair, and I think it's even expected or understandable if people are disappointed. But ultimately, it may have to fight less games now, right, when it releases, and there's nothing really wrong with that. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Are you impressed by this game? Do you know how it works? All that stuff, let me know. As always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, leave a like, definitely helps these videos out. And if you want to follow me in any of my other social media, my Twitter, my second channel, we have a Twitch, we have Patreon, and YouTube memberships. All of that stuff is in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.